seconds at the beginning, at the end, that get cut off, and I never know how long, but it's longer than what we think. I think we're ready now. Hey there, folks! How you doing? Welcome to Jumpstart Live. Jumpstart Live, your home for the crypto hits. Jumpstart Live, all crypto all the time. Merci de venir à Jumpstart Live Crypto. Te para todos los relaciones con criptomonedas. I certainly didn't say that well. Welcome to Jumpstart Live. Very happy to have you here. Thank you so much for giving us your attention. My name is Peter Hartman, and I'm here
Tom
with your
Hartman,
friend.
and you're watching Jumpstart Live.
No, that's at the end, Tom.
Let's do it again. Let's take it again from the top.
I'm here with your friendly neighborhood crypto guru, sacred prophet, Tom Hartman. And today we're going to be talking, doing part 3 of the review of Real Vision's Raoul Paul's The Next Big Thing. We've been having a lot of fun going through that, hearing his vision for the future, what's happening in crypto space is very exciting. And today we're going to be completing that with our part 3. And then we're also going to be talking about today's price action. Maybe you're searching on the internet and you're like, hey, what happened? You know, everything is like moving, getting all crazy. Tom's got the news here for you. He's going to let you know what's going up. I was going to say he's got the gist, and I was like, am I saying, is gist the right word? It sounds kind of vaguely dirty. But anyway, Tom, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. It's been a fun day. When you see a sea of red in crypto land, one thing's for sure, you're going to have some good Reddit and Twitter posts. It's going to be fun.
Oh, it's juicy. Where do you like to go on Reddit on the days like this?
Cryptocurrency, r/cryptocurrency, Cardano, SafeMoon, Ethereum, Polkadot. It's all over the place. Plus, you just get to see like what's on the front page of Reddit, because cryptocurrency basically controls the internet now.
I checked out SafeMoon Reddit last night, and they believe in it just like we believe in Cardano. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They're like, some guys like, hey, I just sold my house, 90K. 90K. I put whatever 50,000 into whatever he said into buying an apartment. I have 15,000 left over. Should I put it into SafeMoon? Just baiting the audience, just baiting them. You're in the SafeMoon subreddit, and you're at, hey, should I put 15K? And they're like, yeah, do it. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so you got to also check out the SafeMoon investing subreddit, which is all the people who've been burned and hate SafeMoon are over there. Oh,
I gotta write that down.
Beautiful.
Investing.
It's bizarro world. You know, like in Fringe, when there's this split of the universes, and there's one universe where
spoiler alert.
That's right for Fringe. It's so good, and both Reddits hate the other Reddit. It's fantastic. You can't get if a post comes through, if like someone's able to repost something from one to the other, and it stays up for a few hours or a few days, people go, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!" Like, I guess there's some open-mindedness on the other side, or whatever. It's like very much Republican and Democrat.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. All right, so we've got. We're also going to be talking about the fourth turning, novelty theory, and the singularity at the end of this. Just little teasers, because we will be doing full-length streams on the topic, and continuing to do so because we've done some already. If you haven't checked it out, remember to subscribe to our channel, hit like, and hit that little bell so you get notified when we go live. We've been going live quite often, and the more you participate, the more you watch, the more live. What am I kidding? You don't even have to participate. We're going to go live. We're obsessed with this stuff, okay? Enthusiasts doesn't even cover it, all right? We are totally on board. I've got a tattoo of Cardano right here, and I've got a tattoo of Bitcoin right here, and I have a SafeMoon tattoo, but I had to scratch. I
love that after our streams, we wrap it up. And then we got on a phone call and we talked for another 2 hours.
Yeah, I know.
We should record this.
Yesterday, I was actually thinking about hitting go live, but you never know what's going to come out of Tom's mouth when he's off the chain. So, I can do that. But man, I was like, we talked for another hour or whatever after. Anyway, let's get into it, because I definitely want to finish the Real Vision video. It was very interesting. The next big thing. If you haven't checked it out, you can go to Real Vision Crypto. Is this video on YouTube yet, or you've got to go to the website?
No, it will be later. So I imagine it'll be later. So it's on realvision.com right now. Click on the crypto tab. You do have to give your email. It's free. And then basically all the crypto content is free. He's as he's mentioned in the past video that we did, the Real Vision vision is to democratize financial information. And so he's like, all right, let's give it to everybody. Let's do this.
I'm just fighting here with my chest there. I feel like I'm showing too much of it. I feel I should be going, hey!
Shave it all off. Shave it all off. Like I used to do when I was 19.
Shave it. Oh man, I wish I could be smooth, but Sam, she don't like that. She don't like that. I was like, I just want to be. Anyway, this is not about. Happy for a Change has a vision, giving your attention to great ideas. Happy for a Change is on a mission to create an audience of people online who want to use the power of social media, use the technology we have today to direct our attention like a laser. What we give our attention to becomes a greater part of our experience. We shape our world, our future with the power of our attention. So it's important to be deliberate. Happy for Change believes that we should give our attention to great ideas. Great ideas are ideas that make you more efficient, more effective, more capable of pursuing your passion and your dreams. We want the world to be a better place so that your life will be a better life. And that's why we're giving our attention to crypto here today and Raoul Paul's The Next Big Thing. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Classic identifiers. Will CryptoPunks? Probably. Bored Apes? Possibly.
He's talking about NFTs.
But then you'll find there'll be subgroups. We're going to play with NFTs at Real Vision, not to extract value from the community, but by giving people a sense of identity. Because we've got a very, very, very strong community at Real Vision. And they want to be identified as Real Vision people.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's part of what NFTs are. And maybe they are your identifier to log into stuff. Maybe it's your identity for affiliates. I have no idea. But Real Vision is going to go the social token route as well. And again, I don't know where it's all going. I'm certainly not going to stand up and say, we're going to make you rich. No. What we're going to do is create a utility token that allows people to participate in the network. And it's up to everybody who's on the network to drive value to the network. It's not about us trying to make people rich. It's about driving utility and use case to the network by all participants. And we'll see. It's a grand experiment. But I think it's going to work. And I think it's going to tie people together and have a great understanding of where this is going. So we've talked about cryptocurrency, blockchain itself. We've talked about social tokens, communities, digital sovereign states, NFTs, DAOs. These are all the conversations I'm having on Raoul's Adventures in Crypto and getting other people to have for me. Conversations that you're having for me as Santiago Velez. It's all part of this big fucking learning journey, because I know this is the biggest thing and I'm trying to understand it. I had a fantastic conversation with Jamie Burke, and Jamie and I came round to the idea that we're both using the metaverse as our framing of a end state. And again, none of us know what the metaverse is, where it's going. It's this digitally fluid world between the physical and the digital world where you can move around, live, exist, work, earn, etc. But if you conceptualize the metaverse as an end state or the start of an end state, it allows you to hold all of these thoughts in your head. A digital financial system, DeFi, a digital system of organizing and corporations, DAOs, social tokens, system of money for the communities that you're in, NFTs, digital identifiers and stores of value within the digital world, and an interoperability and transferability of that value across various digital properties. All of that becomes the metaverse. This is all this Web 3.0, the metaverse, the gigantic change. So the metaverse is not, to me, who's going to win? Tim Sweeney, Mark Zuckerberg. That's just not going to happen. Apple is in the game. Google's in the game. Apple are going to give you an ability because they own this, which is a supercomputer in your hand. They're going to have the ability that those glasses you're wearing today, Ash, will give you augmented reality. So what does augmented reality mean? Does it mean Google tells you what road to take when you're walking through Manhattan? Sure. But it also means that I can have a piece of NFT art in my living room that doesn't exist in the physical world, but does to anybody I want to show it to.
I can't wait for that. Pause this for a second.
The idea of walking through a place and multiple people are seeing different things.
Okay, I get that. Walking through, if it's like in a museum or out in the park or whatever, that stuff is exciting to me. Yes, in your own house, that people see different things, it's less like, it's the shared experience is what's fun. But what I like, people talk about art and things like that. there's gonna be. Do you remember the virtual pets that we had back in high school on those little
Tamagotchi.
devices, Tamagotchis?
Yep.
And how crazy everybody was, and you had to keep your, you got to keep your pet alive. I'll be honest, and keep mine alive. Can you imagine having a digital pet in your house with AI? It behaves just like a real animal. It grows. It remembers
Peter,
you.
Full stop. Pokemon Go. I want real Pokemons walking around me. I want to be able to mistake it. I want to make a mistake that I'm going to reach out and touch it. Right? I want real Pokemon. I'm going to catch them. I want to spend my Peter. That summer when Pokemon Go came out for the first time,
you guys were crazy.
For 3 months, the whole world was. Nothing made me believe in the law of attraction more than 14-year-old Tom seeing Pokemon Go, and everyone cared about Pokemon as much as I did. I went out every night. I couldn't believe it.
Tom, I'd be outside. I'd go outside downtown, and by the park, there'd be swarms of people. Tom, like 50 people crossing the street, going to catch these Pokemon. People were outside in the parks doing all kinds of things. Driving in a car and people stopping their car in order to catch Pokemon. I was like, this is unbelievable. It is
Kids
Pokemon.
and adults got along. It was great. Plus, I never had this feeling, or it's rare that you have these feelings, where in the moment you're watching the world unfold in front of you and you're so happy that you're like, this is a perfect moment to die. Like, this is just the perfect ease myself out and just go.
Okay.
Now, what could be better? What could be better than this?
Speaking of that, okay, what I was gonna say is that, imagine you have a real pet, a real dog. That dog passes away, but the behavior of that dog gets captured in digitally, and then you can have your digital dog. Some people stuff their dogs. You can have your dog still be around, sort of in spirit. Mm-hmm. But do you remember? And I know we were talking about NFTs, and the reason I want to bring this up is that those animals, those creatures will be valuable. Like, it's not just that you have this digital dog that's there; it's this unique digital dog. The uniqueness is what makes you can attach to it and fall in love with it and carry it around, and it matters what you do with it. Okay, do you remember? I don't know if it was a Black Mirror episode or one of these sci-fi shows I watch. It was a robotic child that was a recreation of a child that they lost. Parents lose a child, and then they go to this center. They get a robotic version of the child, looks like their child, and they're able to live with it. It's a forever child. It doesn't grow up. Well, you can kind of have that in. I don't want to do it for a child, but let's say, Tom, if you passed away, if I could get some digital version of you that I could sit down and chat and have drinks with and eat or whatever, I don't care if it's 80% there. I don't even care if it's 60% there. Like, I don't care if it's just like, hello, Peter, how are you? It's fine, okay? Will he admonish me for showing too much chest hair? Will he make noise when he eats his food? Will he be talking about cryptocurrencies and plug him into Google Alerts so I can get... Yes, and imagine having that experience. The augmented reality space tied to NFTs is people. I don't think people really get it. Like, people are not going to care that much about the physical things anymore. Oh, you got a physical art, but they
already don't. They already care far more for digital things. Peter, one thing I really want is this idea of Nikola Tesla is said to have been able to have his imagination was so vivid that he would actually build his devices, his inventions inside of his mind, run them and play them and fix them inside of his mind. And when he built it, he would just build it once. And it was done. He knew it would work. Mm-hmm. The idea of an augmented reality, I know there's a version 12 or whatever it is, that you're there and you have these glasses on or whatever it is, a chip inside of your brain, whatever it is, and you are designing something physically, right? You're designing it. It could be electronics. It could be food that you put in together, anything like that. And then when it's done, it's sent to whatever processing thing and then ships out. So you just did your work wherever you were, whenever you wanted to do it, on the beach somewhere.
That exists with 3D printing. It exists. A lot of the car manufacturers, they design the cars in digital space. And then components or mock-ups and prototypes can be not prototypes, but models can be printed. So we do see that with architecture. You see that with car manufacturing. The thing is that
we do actually have a couple of components with that. The remember the game Dreams on PlayStation? It's this game that allows you to. It's a game creator builder, so you can create your own games, and people can then go in. You can jump into different worlds and play other people's games. But you can also, if you didn't want to create a whole game, you can create a component. You can create a level. You can create a tree, a star in the sky, or whatever, and then other people can use those components in order to make their thing in these worlds. And the credits for that game had all the names of everybody who made anything. Your identity was tied to every single component. So you can have hundreds, thousands of people in some beautiful game, and you can see. So someone who got really great at making trees, fantastic at making trees, everyone can see. Look at the myriad of trees he created. You also have it in Hit Record, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt development platform, where this community where people are write and create and act and shoot video and edit and all that sort of thing. And when they do a project, the project that comes out of it, the money is split between everybody who participated in it, even if someone just did a demo voiceover or a line inside of a movie. I think that's just absolutely amazing. And so
Unreal Engine Unreal Engine has that where people can create components, trees, a house, or whatever, and then you can go to the Unreal store and download these assets and use them in your things. The characters are created,
and
things
you
like
get
that.
credit for it.
You have to buy these assets. I don't know about the credit. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know about the credit system.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of these components floating around already. It's just a matter of tying them together, and that's what's so amazing about crypto. It provides that medium in which to do this.
That's right. And so one of the criticisms you hear about crypto is how it's not real, right? Alex likes to say, "Oh, show me a Bitcoin and I'll buy it." Like show me a Bitcoin. People have this. A lot of people sometimes don't really get that the digital thing is also real. And one thing I'm excited about augmented reality is that it's really going to teach people, train people that digital things are just as impactful as physical things. So that the digital sword, like you were talking about, or the digital pet or whatever, will have true value that people are going to want to pay for. I would argue even better value. Look, Tom.
That's right.
If you write me a letter, a handwritten letter, I'll be like, thank you, but holy crap, now I got to deal with this physical letter. How am I supposed to keep this thing? But if you give me a digital letter, now I don't have to worry about storing it. How am I going to get it to another? Like I have it now. I have it forever. So many things are going to benefit from being in this digital immortal state. It's not just that this thing is this unique digital asset that persists. It's immortal. Whereas I create that thing in the physical space, and it's limited.
The thing is, you don't have to separate it. The metaverse thing, the idea is that it's tied to the physical space. So imagine you have a painting, right? And that painting, there's an associated NFT with it. So if you were to, when you buy that painting, and the ownership of that NFT switches, that painting switches, that you can make it so that the NFT pops out of my account and goes to the other person's account, because they scanned it with a proper authorization, and now they have it. And so now that NFT can be displayed, and it's the original, it's an NFT created from that art, and it's the original one, so you can have that virtual thing displayed, and you also have the physical thing. And then let's say you sold the NFT to somebody. You can imagine a platform that you sell it, and then automatically when an ownership change happens on that on the digital NFT, that someone shows up at your house 2 days later and says, all right, give me the painting, and they're dragging the painting over to the new guy. Like, I love that idea that, let's say, everything inside my home is tied to an NFT. So I sell something on the Facebook Marketplace. It's the NFT version of that thing that's transferred, some used couch or whatever it is. And tied to that is the cost for somebody to move it, the insurance to make sure that it matches the criteria that they have. And some movers come grab the couch and bring it off, and it ships off because I pressed a button on my computer. Like, we already have that sort of thing in the digital marketplaces, eBay, Facebook, Craigslist, whatever. But there's always a risk there, right? There's the who's showing up at your door, and is the thing as quality as they say, and there's no repercussions if it turns out that the thing breaks 1 week after I got it, or like there's none of that, right? If I go get a toaster that I bought for I go get a $20 toaster because I'm looking to get a deal on a $60 toaster, and I go to a one town owner over, I get it and bring it back, and the toaster doesn't work. I'm not gonna go back to Trois-Rivières to try to get this toast, like argue with this person. This person was completely comfortable selling me a broken toaster. Like I'm not. That's not a fight I'm gonna win. But let's say there's a money tied in some sort of escrow account that says, okay, this item has to be in working order or whatever.
It's a smart
for this
contract.
period afterwards, a smart contract, and then automatically, if it turns out it's not good, boom, I get refunded the thing. In the same way that on Fiverr or different types of freelancer platforms, where if the gig isn't completed properly, you get a refund on that work, and you can use it for something else. It's just there, and what we're talking about is like iPhone 1 version. The difference between a feature phone and an iPhone 1, like that's what we're talking
What's
about.
going to get created is absolutely amazing. Can you imagine putting on the Apple eyeglass and what you see out your window is an alien invasion, a zombie apocalypse, and you can go outside and interact with the space, and everybody else who wants to play that game can also interact with that space. Can you imagine a Harry Potter wand, and some graphical designer designs the light, the magical elements that's there, so it's really crafted particular. It's not like it could just be copied. It's like unique for this one, and it has these powers, and then you meet up with somebody else and they have their powers, and you blasting it out, and you're having Patronus battles or whatever.
The world is, the storms are showing and lightning.
That's right, exactly. And the whole world, and then people go, oh, but it's a digital space. It's not real. You're like, your real life is way more boring than what I'm experiencing in the digital space. What are you talking about? Not real.
The same people will say it's not real. The same people will sit down and watch 8 hours of a Netflix show with a bunch of people pretending to be people they're not,
and crying because they're emotional at what they're
not
watching.
Going there, this isn't real. They're not doing that.
I gotta do that with Santa sometimes. We'll watch something scary like a zombie thing. She'll be like, oh, Peter, help me. I'll be like, they're just actors. They're just play acting.
Brad Pitt, it's Brad Pitt. It's fine.
It's not. It should be like, oh, okay, they're grown people playing pretend. Oh, that's right.
It's so funny, and I do that sort of check on myself in regular life. I'll go and I'm anxious about something. I go, oh, right, this is a play. This is a play, and we die at the end, and everyone gets to the same ending, and it's just about how you go.
That's right. But the whole idea that crypto and this digital stuff, and it's not real. Like, if you can wrap your mind around this and how desirable it will be for people to experience these things and to have these things, and then how much they pay for that, then you start realizing, oh, the money that we're talking about in the crypto space, the money we're talking about, the levels that people are expecting, this is not pie in the sky. This is not Pollyanna. This is not wishful thinking. It will eclipse what happens in the real world, because real value will be created. And if you can understand that, then you're going to go, I need crypto. I need to be in this space. This is a no-brainer. Like, would you buy any of the things that we just talked about? And how much would you pay for a digital animal that grows and remembers you and acts and interacts with the world? How much would you pay for magical battles outside? How much did people pay for? Did you spend any money on Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
How much did you spend on Pokemon Go?
Peter, there was no amount of money I could spend that was too much. They didn't even want that much money.
It was, what was it, hundreds?
Maybe a couple hundred.
A couple of $100 for Pokemon Go. Can you imagine how much people are going to pay for the wild experiences?
$100 for the once in a lifetime unbelievable dream come true. Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's the kid, the cancer patient who says, the one wish I have is not to have cancer anymore, and they grant it. And he gets to meet The Rock at the same time. He gets both of them. That's what I want. That's the feeling I had.
Oh my God. That's why I'm so excited. Tom, literally, okay, we got to stop talking about it. Literally, I'm in my bed at night, and every morning I can literally feel this electricity going through my body when I just put my thoughts onto the future. I am so freaking excited about what's coming down the pike. And, I'm not 80 years old. That's the thing that gets me. I'm not 80. And I'm not 18, which is another level of being difficult.
Just an idiot.
Just an idiot 18-year-old, just like, woo, mommy, can I have a... Anyway, let's get back into this.
Pokemon Go as a world where these digital and physical things coexist and we can have different experiences.
You just said Pokemon Go.
I can leave you a digital map of my house because you're coming over to Little Cayman, and I say, it's only available for you. And you stick on your glasses, you've been permissioned because you've got the token, and you look at it. So all of these things, plus what everybody's doing. I mean, I think I'm speaking to the guys who are building Wild. They're doing it on Zero. What Tim Sweeney, who's building on Unreal Engine. What people like Alexandra Fernandez is doing is creating metaverses for companies and organizations. We've got giant corporations, we've got small people, we've got crypto voxels, Decentraland. They're not going to be one or the other. It's the same way as these communities. We will be interoperable. We'll be able to move fluidly between places that better suit our needs, desires, communities, etc. There will be some giant winners from this. Gigantic trillion-dollar winners. I don't know who they are. It's hard to even bet on it. You can bet on some of this social tokens. There's like 3 or 4 companies that have platforms for that. And I talked about those. People like Rally, Flow, I think Luxo's coming through, Chili's. NFTs you can get involved in, but it's really hard because there's so many. It's the opposite social token platforms where there's few. NFTs, there's millions. So, you just have to kind of suck it and see. DAOs, they're still early. There's a few DAOs people are investing in, things like Friends with Benefits, super interesting. And the metaverse, how the hell do we invest in this? I don't know yet. There are some opportunities. You can buy Decentraland, Sandbox. Sandbox is a very interesting one. Lots of people buying. Snoop's got land in Sandbox. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So I think of this, the metaverse as the end state, and it allows you to hold all of these things in your head without having to be the expert. It's the macro way. Here's the probabilistic path. Because then, if not, you end up trying to argue on everything. How do DAOs work? I don't know how they're going to evolve. And that's okay. But I just do know that they're going to evolve. So that's how I'm thinking this. This is why I'm fascinated with the metaverse. Not some dystopian, utopian, how's it going to play out? Is this Ready Player One? I don't give a shit about that. There's too many people working on too many different ways. We will get our choice in how we want to live. And my guess is once we have digital identifiers that have things like zero-knowledge proofs in them, something we haven't really explored on Real Vision yet because it's still pretty early, but zero-knowledge proofs basically give you a cryptographic block between your data and the authentication. So it can be authenticated without question, trusted authentication, without actually seeing my data. So that allows us to operate anonymously in a digital world. Now, our government's going to adopt that for their wallets for CBDCs. Our government's going to have their set of documents that are publicly available and other things that we want privately available. Who the hell knows? But I do know is the other end state is everything's going on this. Everything. Your communities you're a member of will be in your wallet and they will go up and down in value if your community is thriving. You will have the cryptocurrency bets, but I think of those as communities too as well now. So I've kind of given up with the whole idea that these are different things. They're all the same thing. And those will go up and down in value. You will have your digital identifier that I can share with you. And what's really powerful is what DeFi is going to do for everybody too. And I'm struggling to get my head around DeFi because it's moving and it's failing and it's succeeding and all of these things, all
DeFi
of these economic experiments.
Finance.
Yeah.
But basically, stuff like Terra Network, you can just put money, stake the network and get 20%. And they're basically risk-free if you want to own that network. Same with Ethereum. This is mind-blowing. So you can just quickly park your assets by flicking a screen and get different yields. And then there's going to be, yield farming, all the different ways of getting multiple yield products. And eventually we'll get to a system of risk weighting. This is a high risk 20% yield. This is a low risk 3% yield. You just do it accordingly. There's no middleman. It's just applications layers being built on DeFi. And DeFi is borrowing, it's lending. You'll be able to borrow against your token holdings and say, look, my portfolio of token holdings is worth 200 grand. Can I use that as a deposit for a house? Yes, you can. because of the beauty of these digital assets and how they're recorded and who's got the ownership. This is where this is all going. And it's going to happen at lightning fucking speed, because the central bank digital currencies enable all of this, which is what people don't think. They think, well, we don't want no more fiat. Forget it. Fiat is the sovereign state. That's how they want to run their currency regime. That's fine. You don't need to keep all of your money in that currency regime. This is the new world. In fact, you don't need to anyway. You can switch between yen and francs and whatever you want anyway. And you can buy gold. This is just an extension of that. They want their taxes because you live in a society where somebody believes that the right answer is societal benefit. So society together is stronger if they share some of the wealth amongst others, so other people get a support. I believe in that too. I know it's wildly unfashionable with some people in the Bitcoin space. I have no problem. I'm a European.
This is something to really focus on for a second. That a lot of people think that the crypto space is for people who want to be off grid and they don't want to be controlled and they want to separate from society and all that. And what he's describing here is that it's the opposite. That we understand that that's what they created it for, but just like the people who created the internet didn't understand what the internet would ultimately be, and people who created social media platforms didn't understand what ultimately it could be. What we actually want is more community. Like, that's what we all want. What we were tired of is being lied to and controlled, and people extracting value without getting anything in return. That's what Bitcoin and crypto solves. It allows you to extract value. It allows you to have transparency and allows you to have control over your own assets. But you don't actually want, like, there's no problem with taxes as long as taxes are properly spent. In countries where taxes are properly spent to support the population, people aren't complaining about taxes. Taxes are essentially coercion and violence, and the only way they can extract a tax is by forcing you to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what taxes are.
Right, but in a society where you're getting back more because the taxes are collectively are being used to generate more than you could have generated on your own, then no one there is thinking it's coercion. They're thinking in the same way that working together on a farm makes more food and we don't starve and die. You don't go, well, the starving and dying is coercion. You go, no, that's just a byproduct of working alone. And so,
look, I don't want to get into an argument with you arguing about taking money out of the productive sector and put it in the public sector, which is inefficient just by definition. And the pennies don't get sent to where they need to be sent. You have corrupt politicians who have every incentive in the world to divvy out the monies and special interest rates. I'm not going to argue about that, but yes, I do understand the principle that if taxes are spent appropriately, if you feel like taxes are spent appropriately, then you don't have any trouble with taxes. The problem is not taxation. The problem is not the government knowing about you. The problem is the corruption, and the corruption is mitigated when you have a decentralized system that allows you to flow from this or that. You're not locked into a certain financial system because you live here in Canada, you live in the United States. You can participate in networks all across the world. So definitely more freedom, more opportunity, more individual agency will offload some of the potential corruption that happens in the centralized system, and then that centralized system can be more efficient because nobody's giving them money to do these other things. These other things are being accomplished in other ways. The government will only do those things that we can accomplish on our own.
That's right.
But he did mention something. It sounded like there is that crypto can give us back anonymity online, which like there are websites like privacy.com, if I'm not mistaken, where they'll give you like a credit card number that you can use to sign up to things, but it's not your credit card number, and then that way nobody can track you. This is a one-time use. You can use it just for this thing, and that gives you a kind of anonymity. So it sounded like if you want to, you can interact with the world without revealing or giving your data or giving too much of yourself, but you have the choice of being transparent or not. So that if you're in a community where people are more transparent, well, there's a certain trust level in that community. If you're in a community, a 4chan type thing where everybody is hiding behind a pseudonym, then you understand the level of trust that you're experiencing there. Am I wrong? Or
I think that only exists temporarily while we're in this Wild Wild West sort of state. Ultimately, there won't be any of that privacy. But because the privacy is used right now because it's to prevent money laundering and for governments to be able to collect their taxes. That's why we have you have to provide your driver's license, passports, and all that, and who you are. And there's also a level of accountability. They want to make sure that if you don't pay back something, if you do something wrong, they know who to go after. But in the crypto space, there's things that mitigate that, right? So having your assets as collateral. So if you're going to take out a loan in DeFi, in decentralized finance, you don't have to show what's your income and what's how much you have in savings and what assets do you have then that we can collect if something goes wrong. Your collateral, your Bitcoin, your cryptocurrency is the asset, and because it's programmatically there, you can lock that. And if you don't pay it, they go, great, we have we have your Bitcoin. We're just going to take that now and move on. And so it reduces the burden of needing that types of documentation, that type of proof. Then on the other side, you have the people can transact privately right now on crypto because there's not a lot of applications that are analyzing the data of people's transactions. But that's coming. That's going to come where they're going to know more about you than ever before because of your behavior with your crypto wallets. And you think, oh no, I'll just launder it through this service or through these 50 different addresses. It won't matter because AI will be able to figure all that out better than any human can. And so you'll have an even better the system will be able to know you better than you know yourself.
Well, it's like metadata. I remember hearing stories of how you interact online, social media, your Google searches, et cetera, that these tools, these AI could figure out if you're pregnant, your opinions about things, and even know if you're going to be depressed, if you're going to harm yourself. These predictive engines. There was this one app. I can't remember what it was, but it was for people who experienced, I think it was chronic illness, and what they notice is that your sphere of travel, like where you travel to, reduces as you get more and more depressed, as you get more and more withdrawn. So because you go to a party, you go to work, you go to a grocery store, but you also go to a party. And so as it shrinks, it sends you a notification. Hey, you got to check yourself. You got to get emotionally ready because you're getting to that dark space. And that's predictive using your data. And so I imagine with the crypto, in the crypto world, that this data will be even more minute, like every single purchase and every single thing. So yeah, it will be beneficial. But if you have access to this also, very good for you. Very, very like I want to get to the travel website that gives me one option. You're going to love this destination. We know exactly where you need to go. We know exactly the restaurant you want to go to. Before we know you to a T. Listen, you go to this restaurant, order this meal, go at this time. They're gonna know exactly what you want because the waitress here at this time looks like the girl you dated in high school. It'll be like you go and you're like, oh my god, it was perfect. It was perfect. That dinner we had at the restaurant was perfect. And you show up there, and your buddy shows up at the same time. You didn't have to schedule with him. The AI knows it. Like I think the level of detail that we can get with this, if we can get through this privacy and fear and the control that this fear is there for a good reason. We can get past the system of control that we're underneath and that we can actually feel free. The level of attention, the intimacy to your life will be so appreciated. You won't even understand how we were able to live without it.
Right now, so it's the rate of change of the lack of letting go of privacy that matters here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have people got the internet, and they were offered, give us a little bit of your information. So sign up to this email, and instead of having to pay for an email, you get free email, unlimited space, reliable service, spam protection. But we're gonna read your emails and find out more about you in order to show your ads. And people go, and then they go, oh, but this is real convenient. Peter, there are tons of paid email services that you don't have to give up any information.
Oh yeah,
almost nobody's using that. Okay, great. So then they go, oh, here's a social media platform. Like we're gonna know all your friends and have all your pictures, and we're gonna know all the important things of your life,
Your
and
private conversations.
private conversations with other people. But what you're gonna get in return is an experience unlike anything else. You could be able to keep up with friends like you've never had before. You're gonna have this ongoing process where we're trying to make your connections with your friends and loved ones and family members that much better. And people said, "Oh, okay," and then
It'll
they
be
get
profitable.
that's right. Then they get the smartphone and they're like, "Look, we're gonna put a GPS in this. Like, we're gonna know where you are at all times. But in return, like, you're not gonna get lost anymore. You're not gonna get lost anymore. We'll be able to guide you, but we're gonna know wherever you are. Okay, okay." And then people go, "Okay, all right, I can do that." And then people have the Apple Watch on, and they go, "Look, even more so now, we're gonna know your heartbeat and how you're breathing and how you're sleeping, how many steps you've taken, and all that. But in return, like, we're gonna help you live longer and notify you of different things and help you with your
That's
doctors
right.
and all that.
That's
But
right.
you're just gonna have to give that up." Peter, we have no problem with giving up privacy. Privacy is a problem. What we want is we don't trust other people, but as other people
Right.
adopt it, people go, "Okay, that's fine. Other people are adopting it. I'm okay with it." So I like to think of this sort of thing in two ways. One, I personally subscribe to the holographic nature of the universe. I believe that the universe is holographic, that every part of the universe, every fundamental part of the universe is the same thing as every other part, has all the same information as every other part, just like a hologram does, and that all we're doing is looking at it, the configuration from a specific angle, just like a hologram. And that ultimately in the future, everyone will be able to extrapolate everything I've ever done from one particle of the universe. All right. So then go, well, then if we're moving in that direction, fine. All right. If that's too esoteric for you, what I also like to think of human beings as is we're an organism, right? And what we've been lacking is a nervous system, right? We've been lacking a nervous system that allows disparate parts of the organism to respond to a central flow in a decentralized a central desire in a decentralized way. Now we all have a desire to communicate better, to be healthier, to have a thriving community and all that. Nobody wants the opposite. Like, there's no evil people out there trying to destroy the world, whose circle of movement is in diminishing, right? And so what we want is better feedback between the community, the system that we're in, and ourselves, right?
Mhm.
When our cells in our body are operating efficiently, they're doing that. They're taking the information necessary. They're taking the resources that they need, right? They're taking all the resources that they need, and they're sharing what they need to do. And every part works for the betterment of the other part without thinking. The lungs are not thinking to themselves, "Oh, I better do this. I better sacrifice myself for that." Like, no, they're what I like to do is provide air to do this with air, and the blood says what I like is to take whatever this lung does with air and send it over here, and the cells, whatever. And so the most efficient system is the one where the information is free flowing. And for the first time, I'm seeing that the cryptocurrency is a spidering out of this nervous system, and the price is an instant way of us knowing all the information we need to know about the community, right? Should we look over here? Is there something valuable over here? And the more we have of that, the better it is. And so I'm really not worried about this privacy thing. We just need it to roll out in such a way that it's we have time to acclimate to it.
I've always said my problem with privacy is not that my information is available, is that a human being is the one who's interacting with it. And when you have small data sets and a few people, then people are scanning through it. We're gotten to the point where the data is so massive that no human being is looking through your pictures. No human being is cataloging your thing. If an AI has all of my information, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. And so the only thing I'm really worried about is corrupt government using it to manipulate people secretly, blackmail, and all that stuff. But if that stuff gets mitigated, because you can't make me lose my ability to earn an income because there's an infinite number of ways for me to earn income. You can't blackball me in some community because there's other communities for me to go. Like, I have freedom. I'm no longer trapped. Then I think that really helps me be okay with it. And then the less power politicians have, right? The more power we have, financial power we have, meaning the more you're able to have money and do things in the world, the less you're going to need or give over your power to politicians and to governments in order to do those things. They really will be like, the politician won't come out and be like, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to give you that. You're like, no, we get what we need from, I get what I need. Like, I don't need you to give it to me. You just do the bare things that are necessary. I think then government becomes a place where we're no longer fearful. The people who are seeking to get power and money are not likely to go there. Really, public servants are going to go there. It's not going to be some glamorous thing. Oh, you're a congressperson, you're a senator. You're like, so what? This person here is the leader of their own community, and they have 3 million people who follow them. You're like, you got elected with 100,000 votes. Like, I could give a, like, doesn't even matter anymore. Then I no longer fear the privacy thing and my information being out there. Like, who cares? But one of the reasons I really like, and I kind of give myself, look, Ray Kurzweil, we talked about we haven't talked about the Singularity. We're not going to get to it today, but one of the stories that really touched my heart years ago when I found out about Ray Kurzweil is that his father passed away, and he wanted to be able to recreate his father. So he has this room filled with all his father's things and, you know, his journals and blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to date. This was, I don't know, it was almost 10 years ago now. He wanted to be able to recreate his father. I said, if his father lived during 2021, the guy would have a wealth of information. Is that enough metadata to give to his son to pass on? I want to be able to be recreated. You know, I want to be like Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan is going to get recreated in the future. He's going to be immortal. People will have their own Joe Rogans in their house, and he has such a wealth of dialogue that you're going to recreate. It'll be like, I can't tell the difference between this Joe Rogan and the real Joe Rogan. I was like, one of the reasons I'm on YouTube and I do videos and I talk and I explore my ideas and I record like people don't even know is because I want to be able to be recreated. And now that I have a daughter coming, and at this late stage in my life, I want her, when she's 25 and she's burying me, I want the hologram version of me going, it's okay. It's okay. Let me tell you about death, you know?
Exactly.
Let Bad Guru make you feel good about this so you don't feel so alone. So I kind of want that data to be collected of me so that there is a warehouse of who I am. So some facsimile of me can be created. And then you help the world. I think you can continue helping the world.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this, that I think that's what this feedback loop of information that extends further than the lifetime of a person. This feedback loop where people in the future generations get to consume that information and alter their behavior, that it'll change the dynamics of the turnings. That now we're going to end up in this new type of system where it's not just one of the characteristics of fourth turning is that you no longer have access to the information from the previous ones. The people have passed away.
Wow, interesting.
So when they're no longer there,
oh my God,
you're able to do that, and you'll have multiple different generations that can help you. That information that will literally affect you.
Oh my God.
I think that'll create a type of exponential turning. Not that it goes faster, but that the characteristics will be unlike anything. That'll be directly tied to the exponential development, innovation of technology. I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's the difference between. I was going to give a terrible example, but it's the difference between a town and a city, right? To say that a metropolis is the same thing but a town but bigger is completely
yeah, that's right.
Completely missing the point.
That's right.
So I think it's going to be. I'm so. One of the reasons I like you said, that you want to be recreated for video. One of the reasons I want to be on video is, one, I want my kids to be able to see and get educated from me directly as I am now and see the progression of information. But it really excites me, the idea that the next fourth turning, people are watching what we're doing right now, and it changes someone's mind and they do something differently. It like really blows my mind.
There's this YouTube channel called Voices of the Past. Tom, I absolutely love this channel. It's people reading accounts of the past, like historians who wrote books. And, you know, when a Japanese historian visits the United States in the 1800s for the first time, or, you know, just different parts of the world, and you get they do a telling of the story, like they read out the story, and you get to hear these perspectives One of the stories was I'm going to mess it up, but one of the stories was I think it was a Japanese person visiting America in the 1800s or early 1900s or something, and he talked about the culture and how women were treated. He was like, when a woman walks into the room, all the men change their language and they have to defer to her. A husband in Japan, a wife is a dutiful servant of the whole family and takes care of everyone. In America, the husband has to take care of the wife, and if he should do anything to upset her, he must give her gifts to apologize to her and give up his. If they're on a bus, they must give up their seat to a bus or whatever. They must give up their seat. Like, he just described how amazing it was, their attitude and their entrepreneurial spirit, and he says, if they continue like this, they're gonna take over the world. Like they're gonna take over everything. Like, his perspective was like, compared to what we're doing, the spirit in which they have their thing is just gonna be unbelievable. And you're like, it was so fascinating to hear a perspective. It was like getting into a time machine and then being able to hear the thoughts and the feelings from that time today, and for me to contextualize. And I think, what will people think, Tom? I watch videos of archaeologists who are looking at artifacts that are thousands of years old, and there's drawings on them. Tom, the future archaeologists are going to turn on a video or a hologram and talk to previous people, talk to crowds of people. It's going to be... Anyway, I'm getting too excited.
There's so many things I can say about that. Like, I wonder if the past civilizations on this planet, like before our recorded history, because we have this amnesia from the past, if they've done that. And there's people sitting on crystal USB drives, and they're like, people are going to be able to access this. Oh my God. And we're just there like, this is a great artifact. And we have no idea.
That's what I think about.
I find that so sad. I have this joke I'm working on where they, it's this TikTok I wanted to do where it's people from the past, and they're like, I'm trying to think of exactly how to say it. It's people from the past, and they're like, we got to warn people in the future that this disaster like happens again and again. Like, we got to tell them disaster happens again. So let's do something so that they know, so they can remember. And they're like, what are we gonna do? Well, let's use stone, because that lasts forever. Like stone is there constantly. What stone? Like, how are they really going to pay attention to that? No, you understand. We're going to make it like huge. We're going to make them so big, like they'll never be able to ignore it. Everyone
will align them with the stars.
Right? Like, but perfection. I think it's the big thing. No, it's gonna be triangles. Like, there's no like we're gonna line that stuff. What? But we'll point. How are they supposed to know what to point? We're gonna point it to the stars. Like just to 3 stars.
A precision like we've never had before.
Yeah, and they're like, no, but I'm not sure that's gonna be enough. Look, let's just
we'll use big stones.
No, we're just gonna
no man can lift. Go ahead.
We're gonna put a line right in front. We're gonna put a line right in front of it, and it'll be like, okay, this is not a natural thing because there's no natural line formation. And then they're gonna realize it. They're gonna realize what it really is. And then what happens? What happens to something that happens to the lion? What, like the lion's head's gonna fall off? Come on, they're gonna know it's a lion. I just love that idea that we're just like, we're there. We're holding a crystal. We found this crystal. Oh, it's so interesting, and we don't have the drive to read it.
That's right. I wanted to put a time capsule out, bury one, and I was like, I'll put a USB stick in there, and I was like, what am I going to be able to put down that they're going to be able to read it? You
couldn't run a floppy disk today if you had a floppy disk. It's like, I don't know. All right, let's just finish off this video. We're just have a couple of minutes left, and then
all right.
Oh no, sorry, he's done.
Oh, he is.
That was the end of it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, what's he saying? I want to hear the last word.
European. I believe in society. How we make that society is up to society itself. So, this is how big this all is, Ash. I mean, it's ridiculous, and you can see my thinking just moves on and on and on. It's quite. I mean.
All right, I'll stop it there because then it goes on. It's questions from the audience.
He sounds like what we were just like. Exactly. When he starts thinking, "Oh my God, I could go on and on. I could go on and on and on about this." In fact, I think I will go on and on about this in future videos. We'll be talking about it. Today, we wanted to get to more of the fourth turning. Well, we talked about that a little bit. Novelty theory. Maybe just let them know what novelty theory is, just cursory, and we'll talk about it.
Do you mind if I just play this 3-minute video from Terence McKenna talking about time wave zero and novelty theory?
Yeah, let's do it.
I believe this is the right one. I didn't check it recently, but I think this is it. Just a little, excuse me, just a little background. Terence McKenna is was a professor. He died in 2009, I believe, and
was it 2001?
No, I think it was 2009. And he basically took the I Ching, this divination tool, the oldest tool that we know on the planet, that's used by many millions, if not billions, of people, and he converted that into a mathematical formula that turns out to be a fractal formula that predicts ebbs and flows of novelty throughout time. So I'm just going to mention that, and we're going to watch this video here.
Based on the rise and...
I'm sorry, we're going to have to do this again because that music is just driving me crazy.
Yeah, I was a little overwhelmed by that music. I just want to hear his high-pitched little tone there. People hate his voice. I love Terence McKenna's voice. God, I could listen to him all day. I used to.
Let me move.
I think Tom used to have an impression of Terence McKenna that was pretty solid.
It was pretty good. All right.
I think this is just
physics and archaeology and linguistics.
Sorry, let me just find that exact part. Oh, this is doing that same nonsense. All right, let's just do it in a different video because I don't want to mess it up here.
All right, no worries.
Unless
we mess it up, just take your time.
All right. Okay. Well, let's just get to him. Oh, there it is.
World, that all lies ahead of us. It all has to be compressed into the next 22 years of time. And that is what accounts for the crazy quality of modernity. What accounts for fads and fashions. You know, hemlines are rising and falling in a rhythm based on the rise and fall of empires millennia ago. And these things are as causally linked as the orbit of the Earth is linked to the sun, you see. Because we are being drawn toward the attractor through shorter and shorter epochs. And not only must the entire last 4,000 years of history be compressed into this 67-year period from 1945 to 2012, but there is a 384-day period preceding December 22nd, 2012, when the last 67 years and the last 4,300 years have to be compressed into that. Then there's a final 6-day period when all of these things are compressed again. And so do you see what's happening? The spiral is tightening as it goes faster and faster. The resonances are impinging. The thing is getting nuttier and nuttier and nuttier as computers link all cultures together, all informational barriers dissolve. Everything is becoming connected to everything else. Not only everything in the present moment, but all past moments as well are being drawn, compressed, squeezed toward the production of the transcendental object at the end of time.
So very, very interesting that idea that in the 90s
that takes me back.
Yeah, he's talking about this idea that this wave of innovation that's happening, that there's a cycle of innovation, and as the cycle goes through, it conserves the innovation, it conserves the novelty, so that the next time the cycle happens, it happens at a different level. And the fourth turning has this implied as well, that every time the generations, the cycle continues, we don't go back to exactly what it was before. We're building on this base. And so if we get to this point where the cycle's now incorporating within it the past generations, what then is going to be, the cycle is going to happen so much faster, right? Who knows what that'll turn into? And he spent the better part of his life wondering, what is it going to be like when computers are connecting things and information is being transferred and at a breakneck speed? And we're having that now. Where Ray Kurzweil says at one point, it used to be like one breakthrough per lifetime, and now it's a breakthrough per year. Per year, there are breakthroughs happening all the time. Things
multiple times per year now.
What's going on? Yeah.
And if you consider what's happening in the crypto space and all the projects that are being created, like in the last just 2 years, 3 years, that has increased. I mean, Tom, we lived through, there was no Google, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, and now we have these things. Those things and more are being created in the crypto world in these what are they called? Third layer applications.
Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3.
That's right. Created all there. There are multiple YouTubes. There are multiple
layer 3s yet. Sorry.
Layer 2s, multiple YouTubes, multiple Facebooks, multiple the solutions to our problems right now. As you're watching this, you have hundreds of thousands of people who are developing the solutions to those problems. Nothing like this has ever happened before. We used to wonder back in the day when we watched things like this, what would it be like to live through periods of time where innovation was so exponential? Well, here we are, and it feels like any other day because we have been updated.
It feels like any other day, and it's also insane.
No, it's insane, but I just mean we've been updated. The way we think has been updated. It's to the point where it's a common thing in YouTube videos. They know they got to change the YouTube video every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or you're like, this is boring. Like, we're so stimulated by our environment and so attuned to it that if a show drags on for 5 minutes, you're like, I'm bored. I'm used to things happening, buddy. Where's the excitement?
Right.
People
First
go
5
online
minutes of a show and people go, the butler did it. I got it. No, I got it. I understand the feel.
That's right.
Music, I get it.
That's right. We've seen and all the stories, like I make fun, like, you watch a movie about some historical battle, right? And you see an army walk into a valley. And you're like, what the hell are they walking to this valley? This is ambush territory. All of us know never to walk into a valley. I mean, we all know this. They don't know about reverse psychology. They don't know about, they don't know anything like that. And now we've incorporated that and more to the point where, we have children playing video games who are expert tacticians, would be on the level of generals in the past.
That's right.
Unbelievable. And we go, oh, just another day. And it's just happening all around us. It's
just playing Call of Duty.
Unbelievable.
You're just playing Call of Duty.
Just playing Call of Duty with a sniper precision, or shooting precision. The military recruits people who play those games because they're better at actually doing those things in real life compared to the people who never played them. It's unbelievable. I watch. Oh my God, Tom. I gotta stop. There's so much I could tell. So is that novelty theory what he talked about there?
This is a snippet of his novelty theory, that novelty is ebbs and flows through time, but increases at eventually at an exponential rate. But that the rate of which how the novelty ebbs and flows is not a random or stochastic system. That it's following a fractal pattern that repeats itself in a self-similar fashion again and again and again.
It's a recursive fractal pattern, right? Or is recursive
Well, all
implied?
fractals are recursive, yeah.
I see.
Yeah, so it's just that this is never-ending process. And he goes, well, when he in the 90s, he's like, well, if I were to extrapolate this, we're going to have an insane periods of insanity but that the periods of insanity will all be like compressed versions of longer periods that we saw before, right? So it's just, maybe Obama was like the rise and fall of Julius Caesar, but instead of happening over 30 years, it happened over 8 years, right? Whatever.
So the transcendental object at the end of time, the eschaton, very, very exciting. If you don't like that idea, Ray Kurzweil's The Singularity, which we'll talk about in a future video, has this in a more secular sense. It's not that there's an object at the end of time that's drawing us forward, but there's a natural consequence to our innovation, to our evolution, that will reach to a point where technology is so incredible that we will be able to reprogram matter, that will be able to fundamentally change the nature of reality. And we'll talk about that in the upcoming video.
I just want to make a small comment on that, because the pushback you get from a lot of people is that you're just talking about what's happening to us here on Earth. It's just a small thing. But when you're dealing with a fractal system that's infinite, it means that everything that we're talking about also has a resonant frequency that matches our solar system, our galaxy cluster, universe, multi-universe, whatever. That when you're dealing with a infinite fractal system, talking about size or relativity doesn't make any sense, right? We have carbon on this planet, just like there's carbon in a galaxy millions of light years away. The phenomenons happen because of the base fundamentals of the universe, and the base fundamentals of the universe are the same, as far as we know, everywhere within the universe. So get that idea that you're too small of a thing, because everything in you sees you as a universe.
If we can only talk to the bacteria in our bodies, they tell us, "Who are you?" Did you want to
say? Meaning of life? Just eat the thing on my skin, please.
God, what's the meaning of life? I don't know. I don't know any better than you do. Can you imagine you meet God and God's like, I don't know. I just randomly did this. Yeah. Did you want to say something about Real Vision Social Token? You want to add something to it? I know Raoul talked about it.
No, we talked about it before, but just no, we talked about it before. We don't have to go over it again.
All right, Tom, I know that it's time to go, an hour and 7 minutes, but what the hell happened to today's price action?
Yeah, so basically the long and short of it is, don't worry, this is a nice dip to buy. It's not even that much of a dip, right?
Bitcoin's at 65,000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm calling that a dip just because it dropped so quickly, but it dropped from 69,000 down to a low of 63,000, and now it's bounced around 65. And people go, oh my God, that's crazy. But just keep in mind that 1 week ago, 4 days ago, Bitcoin was at 60,000. So people are just going to overreact on this. It's just a dip. The dollar's going up. And when the dollar goes up, the US dollar goes up in value. The cryptocurrencies, all financial markets suffer. And so I just want to point this out, just to mention that when you see all of the cryptocurrencies move at the large portion of them move at the same time in the same direction, that generally doesn't mean that anything is wrong with any one of the particular tokens. It has to do with liquidity, the amount of money flowing around the system. And so a large portion of a lot of the cryptocurrencies, there are people who are holding it because they believe fundamentally in the project, but there's a huge amount of people who are holding it because they're speculating on the price. And if I took out a leveraged loan on for $1 million or whatever it is to buy a bunch of cryptocurrencies, and a bunch of people like me did that, and the cryptocurrencies then go against me, it starts dropping, at some point I have to pay. The bank will say, oh, Tom, your assets are dropping in value, you got to pay back that loan right away. So I got to sell everything right away as fast as possible at a loss, right? And that drops the price down lower, and then someone else gets triggered, and their bank says that you got to give the money, and it goes and goes and goes and goes, and then you have this waterfall moment. And when you see those waterfall moments, where in the stock market, often you have like a few months to buy that dip, or maybe a few weeks. In crypto space, sometimes you have a day, sometimes you have a few minutes to buy that dip. So keep watching this space,
because there's other people waiting to buy in. They've been waiting to buy the dip, and as soon as it goes down, and then they want to get into it.
They want to get in. So
you
I
said
like it. I always feel good when I see a lot of them fall at once. I go, great. It's not unless they pass some law that bans crypto. I go, great. This is just something, a liquidity problem. It'll come back up later.
You sent me a message this morning. You sent us a message this morning about the euro dollar breaking its support. Does that have anything to do with this?
Yes, but I wonder how much I should go into that. If
just a little bit. I mean, we'll people might hear.
All right, so I'm just going to show you the chart real quick. Give me 1 second here.
I mean, unless you have no time, unless you got to go.
No, I have time. I just don't want to, bore people.
If you're bored, you can get lost. But before you do, let us know what you thought about this video, what you thought about this conversation. I want to hear your thoughts. Comment down below. Remember to subscribe and like. It really helps us grow. And hit that little bell so that you get notified when we go live. We're going to go live a lot. And if anything happens in the markets, you can pretty much rest assured that we'll be coming online. So hit that little bell so that you get a notification when we do. We're streaming on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find Tom on Twitter at Sacred Prophet, and I am Bad Guru. All these links and everything is down below in the description below. If you want to support what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/happyforachange and become a patron. And you can get us in your back pocket. And you might find out about these things before we even go live. All right, Tom?
Yeah, so switch over to the screen over here. So you'll notice that this is my currency screen, or one of my currency screens. And at the top of the nice squiggly lines all represent a specific country. The green one is United States, and then there's other ones. The red one is Japan, white one is Canada, and so on and so forth. And so what happens if, let me zoom this out so you can see a little bit better. You'll notice that the green line is basically the opposite of all the other lines combined. So basically the United States dollar is the opposite of the other currencies. So when those currencies go up or down, the dollar moves in a different direction. Why is this important? Well, because all the assets are priced in these currencies. You price things in dollars. The other currencies can make your thing more or less valuable. So what happens here is that for the euro is the main, let me zoom in here. The euro is the main currency that when this moves, the dollar moves pretty drastically. And there's this pattern. I'll pull it up in our Discord. It'll be easier. 1 second. So there's this pattern called a head and shoulders pattern that's been developing for a while. A head and shoulders pattern just basically is a way of predicting where the price of something will go. And so over here, this is the US dollar, and this big is this visible to you, Peter?
Yes, it is. So I mean, I don't know how much detail I'm supposed to see. I can't see the numbers or anything. But...
No, don't worry about the numbers, just the shape of it.
Yeah.
So this part over here, this big chaotic mess, this part is where COVID was announced, and it was, the world was set on fire, and so the US dollar dropped in value really quickly, and then rose up in value and bounced around for a lot of while, because people didn't know, am I going to need dollars? Am I going to get it? What's this dollars going to be worth? I want to sell these dollars and get something else. It was just this crazy thing. And so after that, the value of the dollar, because of the expectations of printing from the Federal Reserve and the American government, that they're going to print a bunch of money, that they're going to inflate the currency, the dollar sold off. So basically, if you see the stock market going up, it makes sense that the dollar would be going down, because people go, well, I want to sell my dollars, trade my US dollars for the US stock market. So when I do that, the US stock market goes up and the value of the dollars go down, because people don't want the dollars. Well, around the beginning of the year, the dollar sort of stopped going down. And then around May of this year, the dollar started going up. Now, it went up and broke this dotted line you see here is what's called the neck of the head and shoulders pattern. Head and shoulders just means that the dollar curved over here, it curved down over here, curved down over here, and the shape over here looks like a head and shoulders. You have to imagine this the other way around, because it's upside down. And once the price moved up beyond this line, this dotted line, then we're in a different place. Now, when it does that, it's almost like the Head and Shoulders is done, and the price wants to go back up to where it was before. It wants to go back up into this middle range over here. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, that means more dollars are flowing out of assets and into dollars.
So people are cashing out.
We saw the NASDAQ go down, the Dow Jones, the S&P, but also crypto. This is all a symptom. If a bunch of selling happens, boom, the dollar goes up. So that's all we're really seeing. People are for some reason, some portion of the market is saying, I worry about not having dollars in the future, and so I want to sell my assets and buy those dollars right now for whatever reason that it is.
And how does the euro dollar fit into this?
The euro dollar is the opposite of basically the chart of the dollar that I showed you. If you flip it upside down, it would be the chart of the euro. And so currency is only valuable.
That's right. You said they're inversely correlated, right? Is that it?
That's right. Because you could only value a currency relative to, in a given population, relative to what you can buy, but it's judged relative to other currencies. And so the euro and the US dollar are constantly fighting against each other in a relative way. And so what the United States does with their financial system affects the dollar, but also what the European Union does with their money affects the dollar. And both the US and the European Union want their currency to go down for a number of different reasons. They don't want their currency to go up. They want it to go down. And so right now it looks like the euro is winning. They're going down more than the United States can. Again, for lots of reasons that are very, very interesting to me. And we could talk about it in later videos. But this supports my claim that there is not my claim, it's a claim that I've learned from Jeff Snyder and other people, that there's a dollar shortage in the world. There's not enough money moving around. We mentioned this before, that wealth is generated by money moving around, not by it being hoarded and saved or siloed. And when there are bottlenecks of money, or there's a lot of money over here, but not a lot of money over there, right? It causes instability within a given population. That's why you're seeing companies in the United States with record profits and workers barely able to make ends meet. There's not enough money flowing around. And my contention is that cryptocurrencies is, again, not my contention, I'm telling you right now, things I've learned from other people, that cryptocurrencies have come up as a response to that. That when people can't find enough money to go around, they'll create something else. To go around. It's called ghost money. They'll create some other thing to trade because people need to trade in order to be able to store some value and trade it for time and energy later on. So you need to do something. And if the currency you're using is not good, you'll use something else. And so I think one of the reasons cryptocurrencies are going up in value is because there's not enough dollars. And the mainstream reason why cryptocurrencies are going up, they're saying, is because they're printing too many dollars, that it causes inflation. And so that is also making cryptocurrencies go up. So I go, this is great. If the real reason that it's the cryptocurrencies are going up is that there's not enough dollars, great, I'm right. And if it turns out that if it's because of inflation that they go up, amazing. It's like a no-brainer bet. Of course, you got to buy Bitcoin and different cryptocurrencies. So I just want to mention that, because when you see a bunch of cryptocurrencies go down, check to see what's going on with the dollar. It's DXY. You can just Google that, and the chart will pop up right on Google as to what's the price of the dollar right now.
It's funny. I look at my trading view all the time, and whenever I see a bunch of things happening, I know something has happened in the world, and I message Tom or call Tom. I go, "Hey, what's the news? Like, what's going on?" It's cool to have this sort of trigger of what's happening. Sometimes I look at it; it's all red. I go, "What happened?" Biden just gave an announcement. Oh, I got something's happening. So it's a good way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse. So, a lot of people might find finance stuff boring or whatever. I don't have the head for it like Tom does, that's for sure. But just a little that I know gives me a window into the world and some insight that I wouldn't have had before. And so exciting, so interesting. All right. I think we have it there, Tom.
That's it.
I mean, we could do another hour, 2 hours. I mean, it's just
Easily.
crazy. How long are we going to talk after this? This has been a lot of fun. We really, honestly, we really appreciate you watching this. So this is part 3 of Raoul Paul's Next Big Thing. So we've completed it. We're done. You can check out the full video yourself. We'll link it down below, but you can check it out on Real Vision Crypto if you're signed up, and I'm sure it'll appear on YouTube very soon. We really love Raoul Paul, dear leader. He's really great, very intelligent, very insightful, wonderful person to listen to, well-spoken, and attractive too. Why not? Just make him feel embarrassed even more. This has been a lot of fun.
I'm gonna buy when Real Vision comes out with their crypto token. I'm buying it day one. Are you kidding me?
Are you
How
kidding?
did I not get that? Yeah.
I hope they do an IPO. I'll buy that. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for watching this live or after the fact. Thank you to all our subscribers and all our patrons. We really appreciate it. Thank you everybody who comments. I read them all. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Your attention matters, and you matter. And that's what Happy for Change is all about. Giving your attention to great ideas to empower you to make your life better, because it makes everyone's life better. My name is Peter Hartman.
I'm Tom Hartman.
And you're watching Jumpstart Live.
Live.
Take care, everyone.